The NeuroDADverse podcast is produced by Squid Shack Studios.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Dan.
We're both fathers,
We're both married.
and we're both raising kids with diagnosed neurodiverse conditions.
Parenting is tough, and we're not saying it's harder for us, just different.
And sometimes that different can be hard to explain.
That's why we've created the NeuroDADverse, a weekly show where we share our wins, our challenges, and all the neurosparkly and neurospicy bits in between.
Our hope is to create a safe space for parents to share their own highs and lows of neurodiverse parenting. And just to remind you of three things.
You're doing great,
You are enough.
and you're definitely not alone.
So welcome to the NeuroDADverse. Hi, if you're listening to this, then you've landed in the NeuroDADverse. It's a podcast for, about, and definitely by neurodivergent children. I'm Ben. This is Dan. We're both fathers of neurodivergent kids, and we're going to be talking about our wins, our challenges, all the bits that are neurosparkly and neurospicy about our children's lives. Hello, Dan. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you? I feel like I
Oh.
totally misheard that intro. I think you said that we are neurodivergent kids there, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I wasn't 100% focusing, but I might have to listen to that
Well,
back.
Okay. Oh, I'm definitely not going to do it again.
No,
So
that's not our
if there-
style.
If there's no, we'll just accept the mistakes and radically accept them that they happen. If I did say that, who knows? It might be true, Dan. But less about us, but more about our weeks. What is your week in 3 words, my friend?
So my week in 3 words, I'm going for joy, gifts, and unknown.
What was the middle one?
Joy, gifts, gifts,
like-
as in when you give
like-
gifts, receiving gifts.
Oh, right. Sorry. A slightly small animated thing online. I was thinking you might have said.
Well, we might have got one of
Okay.
them from the intro fluff up. If it wasn't a fluff up, then it's a meme of me, and if it was a fluff up for you, it would be a gif or meme of you. so
Okay, cool. Sorry.
that's good.
I thought you said GIF. Joy, gifts, and
Unknown.
unknown. Ooh.
Mm.
Exciting. I went for an alliterative. And also they all end in the same 4 letters.
Lovely. Let's go.
I can't remember what the name is for that. Rhyming, I guess. Perceptive, perspective, prohibitive.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh. I got the dictionary out. So stuff that happened
Code
this week.
vibing. That's the new one, isn't it? That's the new big word, code vibing in the dictionary. I have no idea what that meant.
Oh,
No?
I don't know.
Apparently,
I
it's an IT term or something. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Code vibing. There you go. There's another gift for the show
I'll ask-
already.
I'll ask you at 9 tomorrow. I'll ask you at 9. And then when they don't know, I'll look really cool. Okay, so my week this week was a little bit low key, to use another teenage term, which didn't have much going on, but there is. So we had a attempt to have a family movie night this weekend. I wasn't involved in it, but there was an out that was kind of used as a bit of therapy that we'll get into.
Yeah.
I celebrated a bit of an annual milestone, and then we did have a relaxed, low stakes weekend planned. And of course, it was a week of school for both the kids. What about you? What might your week include?
So
Or-
my week included 4 week of school, a small day out with Amy today. Just come back from that. More fireworks and some school gifts / whatever the technical term is for when school sends things home to you. That's not homework. But yeah, I've very similar to you by the sound of it. I've had like a almost non-eventful week with some
Yeah.
sort of minor events, which I
Okay.
think is a good thing.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah. So this could be done quick. No, I'm joking. There's always something to talk about, as we know. But
Yeah, sure. That we'll definitely get into stuff. Well, we'll go challenges first, like we always do.
Okay.
What happened? What was going on for you, challenge-wise, this week? What was the most
So-
challenging?
I don't have an overarching big challenge, as I just said. It's kind of been a relatively eventless week, but the minor events that have kind of happened. Frankie, I think Frankie is maybe going through like a little bit of a growth spurt because well, everyone keeps saying, God, he's got taller. And I'm like, well, he's already tall. But yes, I think he's had a growth spurt, but also maybe he's having a bit of a mind expansion or whatever the technical medical term for. They're just things are going on because he seemed a little bit hyped a lot this week. And yesterday in particular, he seemed a little bit unsettled. He might be coming down with something because eventually, after a few hours in the morning of being a little bit of explosive reaction, emotional vibes to pretty much everyday occurrences and words. And like his reactions were a bit over the top for, when we say, no, you don't need to do that, it was a bit more like, "Rrr." I'm like, okay. Maybe let's say a couple. We offered him some medicine and he actually took it. So that's normally a sign that potentially he wasn't feeling great or he was in pain. And again, one of the classics, because he can't communicate in English. We don't necessarily know that he might have been in pain all morning. He could have been in pain yesterday. But going to bed has been a bit of a struggle this week. He just seems to be wired a little bit longer into the day, despite being really tired for a few hours beforehand. He's just not going down. And then part of that as well, which doesn't help, is I mentioned fireworks. We've had a couple of nights of just random firework hangover from the other
Yep.
weekend. On 2 occasions this week, when he finally sort of settles around the 8:30 mark, we just get a couple of bangs going off relatively close proximity to the house because they are quite loud and they're noticeable, and that kind of jolted him back up, and then he's back up and down and stimming away and whatever else. And so
Yeah.
there's been quite a few late nights / no nights really. We either all just fall asleep together, or I wake up a few hours later and go, oh, it's like 10:30. Okay, I might
Yeah.
just get up and do something, like if there's
Did
any
you?
house admin, I'll just go do that and then go back to bed again.
Has it had any impact on Frankie's school day?
No, I think one of the great things about his love and passion for school is, even if he'd only had a couple of hours sleep, he always gets ready and wants to go to school and actively seems to enjoy that. So I am very grateful, touch wood, that never changes or
Yeah.
doesn't change anytime soon. So yeah,
I would.
he's just
I
been a
would.
little bit all over
I
the place.
I would put you on that. It's fine now. Like, take that.
Yeah, it's not
Like,
impacted the rest of
it
his
being
week per
fine.
se.
It being fine now. If it changes in the future and he all of a sudden doesn't enjoy going to school for whatever reason, that's okay. He still has had this time and it has been joyful. So it's important to acknowledge that it's not like everything in child development for neurodivergent children, but also I think neurotypical children, is that it's not a linear pathway. You get to a point where you put all of this work in and then you end up as a thing.
Mm.
Like it's not a car plant, like you're not building a car. Um,
Yeah, no
which
doubt at
is,
some point when he's got to be taught more hard, fast curriculum-based stuff, because obviously his learning is still sort of part play and part whatever else, they're not following a potential neurotypical child's curriculum. That might
yep,
change a little bit, but
yep, so many things that can change.
yeah, I mean, yeah, as his school experience evolves, so will he. But yeah, so although he's been a little bit sort of unsettled, which is one of my words was unknown. We don't really know what's going on. He isn't unhappy, but he's just a little bit more tetchy. I don't know what the right word is really. But yeah, I'll be like, no, babe, you're not having your third yogurt today, just because he likes to try it in the morning. And usually he doesn't turn around like Gollum does in Lord of the Rings and be like, I'm like, calm down. That's not normally like him.
Nice.
So we noticed something was going on.
I'll have to rewatch those movies. I didn't know that that character was a big fan of yogurt, but
Don't touch my yogurt. That's if you
yes, of
rewatch
course.
Lord of the Rings and take out the word ring and put
I
yogurt.
forgot that the crucial subtext is that it's all about
It's all about food.
it's all about yogurt. Well, if we're talking about enjoying school, that segues nicely into my challenge, really. Mabel struggled to attend school a bit this week, and we've had it is a challenge, but we've taken quite the process of just kind of radically accepting that you are identifying that this is, and you're communicating to us that this is a difficult place for you to be in.
Mhm.
So if we're not there, what does that look like for you? And so we've been doing other things. So Laura was off uh, and did some stuff, and I was off and did some stuff. But I put perceptive in there because I think one of Mabel's neurodiverse indicators, we are just still awaiting the diagnosis appointment. Oh, sorry, yeah, appointment. Um, is that she's kind of high on her perception of uh people saying things in like energy. She can feel something's off, and obviously, if you're encountering quite a lot of teenagers in a classroom, then that is the case. And also, if you're encountering a stressed teacher, who I like to think of myself as somebody who carries their stress and doesn't necessarily show it, is able to kind of put on a bit of a performance for the kids and make them feel like they are worth my time. But that's not necessarily everyone's, and it is a stressful job. And the stressful thing about it is that you stand in front of 28, 30 kids, and you know that in the next hour you aren't going to meet all of their needs. That's not to say you're not going to try. You can give them all the correct paper if they have a particular color paper. You can give them all the particular rest breaks if the kid has a rest break card. You can give them a laptop if they need a laptop. You can give them extra time on their writing. You can make sure that they have their fidget toy, all of these types of things. Those unspoken, um, kind of social emotional communication needs, in a secondary school, you're not gonna necessarily be able to remember and have, um, the calm ability to just do it one to one, and that's with the best will in the world. Um, so I think she's quite perceptive of when those things are happening, and if those things are happening and it's not making her feel comfortable, then she finds it challenging. But what we'd have to do is we have to have a sense of perspective, and if she were from a different era, she's 15, so she'd be out in the workplace by now. And when I think about the current kind of workplace, like if you put her in a scenario where she had to work with people, I think she'd be quite good. I think she'd be quite good at that. I think if you put her in a scenario where she had to explain something to people, I think she'd be quite good at that. I think if you put her in a scenario where she was asked to do something on the spot, like I don't know, introduce people onto a stage or something, or I think she'd be quite good at that. Lots of these things that, whether it's just her or her neurodiversity, doesn't really matter. Like those are things that she has about herself now, which are immediately employable. You don't really get tested on. So
Mhm.
we're trying really hard day by day to have that knowledge that it's fish in the tree stuff. Um,
Mm.
all the while going, actually, she seems to want to do well. But that metric in the next couple of years of doing well is very different to what it is to be doing well for herself. So yeah, it's super challenging, but we're just trying to do it and navigate it all with kindness. And hopefully she'll see that and respect that, because it's not something that we want to do to be in a fight, and also not put any shame on her at making the realization that an environment is tough for her, because what a skill that is. Because if you're in a workplace, you'd go, I need to look for something else because this is not good for me. It's
Mm.
not really the same way in schools. Um, and yeah, we're just hoping that it's short term. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah.
Can I, what is related
Go
off the
on.
back of what you've said, but more around teaching profession as opposed
Mm.
our children. I know this is a podcast about parenting and judge. So I suppose from what you're saying there, and I agree with my sort of experience of school. why do you think, apart from potentially PE and drama, there aren't other lessons really where everything's individualized, isn't it? Like you don't really need to work as a team or in groups per se to do a
Mm.
lot of education.
Yeah.
Why do you, or not? Why do you think we do that? I suppose that they decide the curriculum. But what do you think? There's any sort of slight subtle changes that the curriculum could do to try and help show people that do have good people skills, um, that could, or well, not everyone has to have good people skills, but people that academically find it demotivating to carry on, but have got skills, as you said, that they could find a way to grade them on.
I mean, I thought you really were wrong when you said this might be a quick podcast if you asked me a question about about how to dramatically overhaul the education system. So we don't want to get mega political, but there was a shift a fair while ago to move away from like level 3 courses, so A levels and BTECs and stuff, to be half coursework. And now an A level, for example, is 2 exams and 1 bit of coursework. So it it has been swayed far more towards the ability to um,
Remember.
remember and write to time in an exam.
Mm.
So a lot of the soft skills that used to be embedded throughout doing things like coursework and group work have been removed, and I think that is the reason for that has often been suggested, that it makes it a little bit easier to teach and assess because
So they
you can
made
be
those
taught
changes for the teachers, not necessarily for the pupils.
well because we had a bit of a and there is an ongoing kind of teacher a recruitment and retention issue.
Mhm.
Um, you could go through a 2-year GCSE or a 2-year A level with not having the kids talk to each other or work together. You could do that. It's quite clear, and I think I couldn't. I don't do that. I think that the you have to do. Yeah, there's nothing embedded in the curriculum that says, which is weird because I reckon it's probably all in primary education. You know. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it sounds like I would struggle then if
I
if
also
that's how the exams go now. I don't think I would probably do as well
well
as I did at school.
the other thing that I cannot really see why. To be fair, I don't teach BTEC courses. I haven't done for a while, so there may be an opportunity for this. I blooming hope so. But there's not really an opportunity for alternative assessment.
Right. Okay.
So for example, you do your coursework. Your evaluation is 1,800 words. You write it.
Right.
They won't accept like a video like a video essay, for example.
Interesting. So that is
They
the only
wouldn't.
reason I got my degree. That is purely the only reason I got
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
degree.
yeah.
I was allowed.
Oh,
I think we were one of the first years because they said it was experimental at the time. I went, oh, I like experiments. Let's give it. But I was allowed to do a mixed media dissertation.
yeah.
I wanted to go to university. I really, really did. The only thing that scared me straight from the off was how on earth am I going to write 10,000 words? That's not my strong point.
Mhm.
I passed my dyslexia test by a point, so I got no benefit from that. They say that they don't mark your essays like for grammar and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
spelling, but they obviously do because I would
Yeah, you
always
have to
get the
make
same mark.
yourself. And
So
listen,
I made a
I'm not
half-hour
saying,
video and did 5,000 words, and that's how I got my first, purely.
and yeah, and so I think there's that. In secondary, one of the things that we talk about is massively like how do these sixth formers go from 16 to 18 and have the skills to exist in the world, right? And one of those things is kind of having confidence and all those soft skills that you can learn by doing these sorts of alternative curriculums. Um, I do it like I've just on Friday. I just had my students screening some of their uh like video essays of film scenes, and
Amazing.
that's my new year 12s, and yeah, they didn't enjoy screening them in class,
So
but they
they make a video essay instead of writing the essay.
the first one I do with them, yeah,
That's amazing. Cool, because
like
that's basically YouTube content. Like some of the best things I've seen
yeah,
online
yeah,
is YouTube like TED Talks level sort of stuff.
yeah,
And you don't even need to be in it. You just voice it. You just show the clips
yeah,
of what you're trying to say. Love that.
yeah. Um, clip this out and put it as a bonus because this is nothing to do with our
Yeah, sorry.
podcast. But
Yeah,
then
sorry.
we've rambled. But yeah, I'm super hopeful that we can get to a also there might be a case that she does that thing that is super common in neurodivergent kids, and she's also this type of something's coming. You're gonna have to just do it in the moment. Do you know what I mean? But we'll see. Like she might just cram it and do okay, but she's just got to make the next step. So lots of open dialogue and lots of open communication, but it has been a challenge for us to have those conversations. It's not an argument though, which is what I'm comfortable about
Yeah.
because she knows we're on her team, and she knows that we'll have to what do you feel about it? What do you want to do? But yeah,
So just to say, so is Mabel's opportunity to do things like coursework limited then because of the particular
no,
is
not
'cause-
at all.
right? Okay, so it's attend because
She
we
is
have said you
doing.
don't have to attend necessarily to show what you know, but if they're saying that you need to be more sort of siloed working and you need to then attend, if
Well,
attendance is basically what you need to do, then yes, that I can understand why that's a struggle for so many
yeah, there's a
children out there.
schools do have a legal responsibility to ensure attendance. Of
Hmm.
course, you probably heard the debate
Hmm.
about how much it is to if you're fined, but if you take your kid out and you want to take them to Centre Parks or whatever, you might as well pay the fine because it's cheaper. You probably heard that legal thing. So yeah, Mabel's what in terms of what Mabel's done, there is a fair amount of opportunity because a lot of schools in GCSE do run a BTEC as well.
Right.
So there is some stuff, but it's just not. It's mainly for the humanities subjects, long written answers for a lot of it.
Fair. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. Shall we
Hmm.
take a quick break and then come back and discuss some wins?
Yeah, I'll go back and read up on exactly what this podcast is supposed to be, and maybe we'll just talk about parenting. Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves. Welcome back into the NeuroDADverse, the podcast for, about, and definitely by neurodivergent parents of children. No. Oh, I did it so
You were
well.
perfect. That was
I did it
perfect.
so well. Did it so well before. I did it before, but the internet didn't like it. You know what you're listening to anyway. We're at the point where we're going to talk about our wins of the week. Dan, do you want to go from it?
Yes. So my wins this week. So my 3 words, just going back, were joy and gifts, and my main win. I have a secondary win that happened yesterday, but my main win really was just some nice positive reinforcement from school. Having had a surprise, as I didn't mention it on the podcast a few weeks ago, parents' evening. Um, Frankie got a certificate sent home, which I think I did send to you in the group, saying that he was, or for congratulating him on his handwriting improvements and doing like handwriting activities, which was just lovely. Headmaster, well, it's not a headmaster award, but yeah, the headmaster signs them, and it was just nice. He gets them
Yeah.
occasionally, and I'm like, normally it's for, oh, Frankie interacted, and so this one was just nice from a progression from pure sort of educational standpoint of
Great.
so
Really nice.
that was really nice. And then also on the same day, we got his school photos sent through, not from the school, from the photographer, but it was just, it's all connected. And yeah, actually being able to see this photo without the heavily watermarking was just particularly aggressive. Let's put it that way. Like, I couldn't even see his eyes. We bought the photos hoping that his eyes were sort of open. You couldn't really tell with some of the watermarking. So yeah, that was really nice, and that was just really nice to see, and starting to share them out across family as gifts. But yeah, that was just a nice little. He just reinforced that he's having a really good time at school. And then my other little win, which won't sound like a win, but when we get to the end, I'm sure you'll find the reason why I put it as a win. So I believe it was I think it was Friday evening. It might have been early. I think it was Friday evening. We was all in the kitchen, and Frankie it was probably about 10, 15 minutes before bedtime. Frankie's a little bit tired, as I said. He's been a little bit unsettled, a little bit cranky, and he was kept opening the fridge and the cupboard, trying to get a sweet treat. And we're like, no, Frank, you're going to bed. If you have something sweet now, you won't go to sleep. Blah, blah, blah. And him and Amy were having a bit of a showdown in the kitchen. And he got his water out because if he knows if he gets told he can't have food, he'll just go, all right, well, I'm just going to sit here and drink my water instead. And he put it on the side and he went for a squash. So he opened the bottom cupboard and pulls up the squash that he wants. And then he's like, no squash, just water. And then he just reacted with a little flick out like he does. And he flicked his water jug, not realizing there was water in it. And it went on, spilt onto the side. And this is why it was my win, because Frankie might look like me. He can take after his mum in terms of letting everyone know how they feel non-verbally. And he's knocked it over, and as soon as he saw water splash up the side, Amy's back was to him. He was like, shit, I need to fix this. So Amy's turned round because she heard the water and she was going, Frank, da, da, da. And he's run round the back of her to pick up the dishcloth or the wipe or whatever you call the towel that you use in your kitchen to tidy up. He's picked that up and he showed her it. So she spun around and saw the water and then went to go, Frank. And he's like, here it is, mum. And I'm just like, that was just a really nice moment. And she kind of looked at it and smiled because he's like, I knew that I messed up. Mum's not going to like this. We can avoid any kind of altercation here. I'm just going to get the thing that mum's going to reach for to fix it. And then he went to wipe it himself, then realized the amount of water that was spilled, went, this isn't going to work well for me. And then just kind of gave it to her and then took a step back. And I was just like,
That's nice.
That's nice communication.
Nice. That's really nice learning.
Yeah, he's like, I've made this situation and I'm going to try and fix it before I annoy mummy too much. And then funny enough, as soon as that, I was giggling because I just thought it was funny watching Amy then sort of defuse while Frankie was kind of like, yeah, I've realized I've gone too far now. And then we went, let's go to bed. And then we all went upstairs.
Amazing.
And then spent the next few hours sitting in the dark. And that was one of the nights where just as he was about to go off, the fireworks went off again. And then we started the whole process again. But I just really loved, like, although that doesn't really sound like a win because obviously he's pushing boundaries, but he understood that he pushed too far. And I just thought that was a really nice touch. And it wasn't something that was against me. I got to just witness, as I do sometimes, two similar personalities go and have a showdown. So that it just made me laugh. And Amy did think actually it was kind of funny after the facts. But yeah, he'd been like at a barbecue running around the kitchen for like 10, 15 minutes. Like, I want this. And we're like, no.
Nice,
no.
yeah.
And then that moment happened. And just when you thought, oh, this could really erupt, he got diffused right away. So that was my win.
By
Frank.
Frankie, isn't it?
Yeah. And I was just like, God,
Nice.
if that keeps happening on different things, that would be really nice. So yeah, that was my win. I like that's
lovely stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a few little wins sprinkled here and there. I said prohibitive, and that's because November is the month where I celebrate my annual sobriety milestone. And
yes, congratulations. Yep.
Thank you. It's 8 years this past week, where I decided to change my attitude to only drinking low or no, so 0.5 alcohol. I didn't really plan for it to be a full-time thing. I just had an experience where I realized I was definitely going out and getting drunk to try and forget everything that was happening, which was a lot, which does definitely include having a child with certain needs, and the challenges that brought. Like, I was 6 at that time. It wasn't only that, but I just noticed I was doing that. And then I went to like a reunion thing and I thought, oh, you know what? To get through Christmas, which is the biggest kind of boozy part of one of the biggest boozy parts of the year. And just when people ask, is everything okay? Just say the honest thing, which is not really, but I think if I cut this out, you know, maybe it'll be a little better. And I can try and work out ways. And yeah, I learned a lot about myself in that first year and just saw I don't really need it. There's not been a year I've done it that it hasn't had difficult parts or have been like, oh, life is really stressful. I wouldn't mind blotting it out again. But yeah, nice little win. I always do a little social media post not for any other reason than like I'll celebrate a win, right? But also more importantly is I always get some messages from people, like private messages that are kind of opening up a conversation on how tough that is. And I'm not trying to go, well, it could be tough for you, but it's not tough for me. I've done 8 years. I always just go, you just need to do this now and let's talk about it. What is it you're feeling of why you need to drink? So it's not the podcast for that, but it wouldn't be right without going along it. I think I'm much, 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 much more able to deal with these challenges of parenting because I don't have that crutch. That doesn't mean to say that you can't drink like responsibly, but for me, it is and has been a game changer. So much so that yeah, I can go and do loads of stuff that I would have just always associated with drinking, but I now don't, which is fun. And I can openly talk to the kids about it too, which is kind of interesting. So that's my little win. The out that I wasn't involved in was Laura and Mabel on one of the days Mabel found it challenging to get to school. They went out on a trip quite somewhere quite locally where there are some Highland cows, and Laura
Ooh.
said that was her win of the week because they just wandered uh, and looked over the fence at the Highland cows just doing their thing. Um, and yeah, so that was nice. But I think probably the biggest win was some laughter and some reflection when we had our movie night that I mentioned. So first of all, uh, we did try and make it all of us. Oscar was interested, but Mabel and Oscar had a bit of a argument set to where Mabel said, "Look, you just talk all the way through and you narrate all the way through. You're only quiet if we ever go to the cinema." And Oscar was like, "Fine, I'll go upstairs. Don't want to watch it anyway." And that was like, okay, normal household, fine. And Oscar really wasn't bothered. But we watched Frankenstein on Del Toro's new Frankenstein. Mabel wanted to watch it, fine. So we're watching it. The two funny things happened. First of all, like we were literally 1 minute in, and
Well, both so
Mabel and Laura were just like talking, 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 talking. I was like, okay, cool. You evicted you evicted Oscar for talking too much, and now you guys are talking. They're like, yeah, but I need to know things. They're both genuinely, well, I need to know things. And I paused it and went, guys,
oh,
it's
thank
one
God you
minute.
poised it, yeah.
I've got what? It's 1 minute. I don't. Not the first time I paused something because people are talking. It's like a regular occurrence in my day at work. Um, Guys, it's 1 minute in. The film is over 2 hours. It's got a story to tell you.
Wait for it.
It like let it. The joy is taking you on the journey, and they're like, oh, okay, fine. But then we weren't obviously silent through the whole thing. But when we there was like emotional moments hitting. I'm not giving anything away if I tell you some of the stories of Frankenstein. But what happened is that Victor Frankenstein is uh, so disappointed in his creation when it has seemingly no intelligence, right? It's just saying Victor over and over again. He's got it chained down in the basement, the drill, and so he tries to kill it. Um, and Mabel and Laura were going, "Oh, it's so being so mean to it. Why?" And I said, "Well, the way, like, effectively, this is his step into parenthood, right?" And the film tells you the story of the difficult scenario with his father. It's like he's created something, but it's not quite turned out how he was expecting. So
Ooh.
he really hates it. Like he doesn't he can't work out how to like effectively parent it, right? Um and there was like a oh from both of them. And then I just went, do you think the monster maybe needs to have a ADHD assessment? And they were like, oh, because not a lot of language. Just there's a lovely bit where he's putting loads of little uh leaves in this little river or train. And yeah, they found that quite amusing. And then Mabel was like, "Oh, are you saying that like this is how you parent me?" And I was like, "No, I'm not saying that at all." And she was like, "Good, because he's burning the house down." I was like, "No, it's fine." So that was just it was kind of fun. It was quite long, so Mabel couldn't quite stay on for the last for the final act. But it was nice to have that um movie night thing back in our lives. It was
Amazing.
amusing. And it was lovely to like, albeit the joke was it was for joking or parody purposes, but yeah, pulling out themes and stuff from movies is something that she's quite good. So yeah, she's quite good at. So and she enjoys doing that. So yeah, that's a nice little fun little win.
That's amazing.
It's good.
No, that I can. It's one of. I think it's probably one of my biggest like things I just cannot tolerate in the world is what due to my brain sort of being overactive and I suppose like ADHD assessment, waiting for all of that malarkey, to see if I'm a stripy horse or just a zebra. Um, Films or TV and playing games are the only two things where I can really just actually stop thinking about all the external stuff. So when someone talks, when I'm trying to watch something, it just cuts straight through me. I'm like, so I do the passive aggressive. I get told I'm passive aggressive because I'll pause it and then I look to talk to them and they're like, "What are you doing?" I went, "Well, if you're talking to me, I can't listen to this. I mean, I could
Yeah,
listen
yeah.
to this and you at the same
So
time, but I want to listen to this. And if I don't fully engage properly with you talking to me, you're going to think that I'm rude." Um,
do you
yeah.
feel different if the conversation is about what's on the screen? If it's just, "Oh, have you seen so and so's dating so and so?" I can't I
Yeah.
can't abide that
No,
personally,
no.
but where this was tied to it, I'm like, "That's cool, I'll talk about movies all day long."
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think that's where we're obviously very similar. I think I can really resonate with what you're saying, where you're a minute in and
I mean,
then
it
Amy
it
might
does
turn
feel
to me.
stupid. It does feel stupid, but yeah.
Amy will turn to me and go, "So what's happening?" I went, "Babe, literally, we've just found out what studio's making this film." Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, "It will come, don't worry." There was a particular
The
story
joy
where,
of the roller coaster is to be on the ups and the downs.
yeah, of course.
The joy is not to get to the end and get off, right?
Yeah, that is true. Just to share this sort of non-parenting sort of story, but my worst experience ever was my friend Graham came over. Me, him, and Amy were all watching a film, and they do like to chat around anything, or they just giggle, or they make noises, and they know it does grate on me a little bit. On one
Okay.
occasion, on one
Okay,
occasion,
follow-up questions. Had you seen the movie before?
no, 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 no. So
Ooh,
this is even
ooh,
more
that's
cardinal
harsh.
sin. Yeah. So,
I feel like we might be completely dividing the podcast audience on this.
oh, maybe. Well, tell us how you think and
To be fair
how
as well,
watching films for you
I
works, but
I will say that the everyone in my house do kind of, like, want to have that cinema experience at home.
yeah,
So we do, like, phones in a pot, and the pot goes,
nice.
like, in a different room. So we're all locked in. So at least there is kind of that.
We'll have like popcorn or sweets or crisps. Like we do make an event. We have all the lights out, but so on this one particular occasion, I think what we used to do this thing where we'd all pick a film and we all had to watch it. So it's kind of like a film club, but usually horror. And we'd be like, "I want you to watch this film." Da, 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 da. So I think it was my pick actually. And I really wanted to watch it, and I had to pause the film 3 times or 4 times within 2 minutes. And it took me 40 minutes to get through the first 5 minutes of the film just because they kept having to talk or ask a question or make a comment, which then sparked a conversation. And I think the
Nice.
last 15 minutes was just they couldn't stop giggling because they knew it was winding me up. So I'd be
Oh,
like, "Are you done? Are you
oof.
done? Cool." Hit play. Literally 2 seconds later, they talk, pause, and they just proper cracked up. And yeah, I'm not saying they did it deliberately to.
When
I
I
was just
think
like, for the love of
a
God, I could have watched half this movie by now. Just
it's a
sort yourself
blessing
out.
and a curse, isn't it, when you've studied it,
Yeah,
and therefore I think what's going on here without wishing to sound I'm not wishing to sound, like, aloof or special in any way, but when you've studied the craft of filmmaking, you are looking at the macro elements of narrative character development, but you're also appreciating the craft of mise en scène, cinematography, editing, sound, performance, all those nuances. You could go frame by frame and kind of geek out on how it's telling you that story, both in terms of what the story is and how it is constructed. And I don't think everyone is experiencing cinema like that. Of course, you can experience cinema in different ways. And yeah, I don't know. This is why I love teaching it, because it's a skill that should be taught, learnt, and cherished.
Yeah.
But I think there's also a context of being in a cinema and being in your own home as well. It's a difference for some people. All right.
Enough about films, because
yes.
we're spawning off a potential second podcast here where we just discussed
I
it.
just get loads of. Imagine if we just get loads of messages like, "Can we do more film and education systems, please?"
Why not?
If you do wish for that, just drop us DMs. I'm sure we'll get into it. Cool. So it's time for a look ahead to the week ahead. Pausing for the jingle. But
I'm working on it.
That's fine. When you need me to sing the words, I will do that.
If you want to send me a voice note, let's see how we can make it work. There we go. Before episode 25, I'll try and get a jingle going. There we go. I've got 2 weeks to work on it.
Episode 23.
I know.
Check that out. I'm looking at my week, and I am telling.
Right, and we're going to refer to my notes here.
Well, we have got an unstable internet connection. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know, there was a bit of a dramatic pause. No, I like it. Yeah, just carry on. I'll just edit this.
We've got so Mabel's got some medical appointments this week. We've also got, we're starting, because of this struggle to attend, I thought we'd get started earlier looking at where she can go in after year 11 that isn't this school.
Okay. So 6 more colleges. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to look at some colleges. So yeah, that could be fraught with social anxiety, but also could be fraught with like novelty, like, ooh, what's this? So we'll wait and see. We're going to try and do a family out to the zoo. We've got a really quite far away football game that Mabel's granddad's going to come to, because it's up near where they live. So yeah, and also a full week of teaching for me, a full week of school for Oscar, and yeah, a couple of shifts thrown in there for Laura as well. What about you, my friend?
So I need to start by reflecting back on last episode where I was dropped, 2 weeks ago, dropped the biggest ball ever, which was, we had a parents' evening that was scheduled in and didn't say. So I got feedback from Amy Friday evening about what I said last week. After dropping such a clanger, I was like, I just said no big events expected. And she basically said, we were listening to the podcast in the office with her colleague Anna. And when I got to that bit, Amy went, we had this. And her colleague just went,
okay,
yeah, men, what do you expect kind of vibes? And I'm like, yeah, true, hands up. This is probably the least prepared part. Hands up. Probably the least prepared part of the podcast for me, because I swear I looked through the stuff, and again, this could just be an ADHD focus thing. I looked through the week and I just didn't see stuff. But I got told whilst walking home from the cinema this evening to at least say the minimum. It looks like I'm going to be staying away for work for a couple of nights potentially this coming week. So Amy will be solo parenting in weeknights, which I don't think we do much of, apart from when she went on holiday for a weekend. I had him on Friday. So that'd be interesting just to see the dynamic. I do go out once a week before he goes to bed, and I'm not back when he goes to bed. So I don't see that being a big thing, but maybe 2 nights in a row, potentially, maybe 3, that could be of interest. We also are trying to do a bit more of a longer out than we did today. We went to the cinema today, so we was out for a few hours. Next week might be a slightly longer day, so that'll be fun. Frankie, be it with family. And what else do I have?
I was going to say, that's a
potential birthday
party. That's a scenario, right?
Yeah. So we go out and then family come over.
Sorry, I thought for a second that you had just explained to me that you took Frankie to the cinema. I was like, we have to restart the podcast. Okay, fine. Not yet. Not yet.
We have been to a cinema, and
Cool.
he walked around the foyer and
My
he
God.
liked it. And I
Okay.
said, let's go get some popcorn. Amy,
Yep.
go get us some popcorn. And we sat at a table and we shared a large popcorn between the three of us. And that was
I
nice. I don't think I
from
could
a
get him into a screen.
from diagnosis to before diagnosis, took Oscar to baby screenings, took Oscar to, like, just immersed him in it. And as soon as that kid could toddle, must have spent loads of money explaining to Mabel, stay in this room. I have to go. Oscar would run. I went through those hard yards, fully sweating, solo parenting both the kids. Now cinema is just an absolute joy
Yeah.
because we just go together. We know we got through those hard yards, but
Nice.
and our local cinema kind of like knew that Oscar had or something going on. So yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get into that.
Well, I'm hoping that
Okay.
I'm hoping I will be able to share the cinema experience with Frank at some point. Yeah, you do get autism-friendly screenings and stuff, and we do want to go. And we missed an opportunity at the start of the year just because he just sod's law was not well. He had chickenpox, so we couldn't go. They don't do it for every film, but that film I thought he would have liked. But so yeah, we're gonna probably go do another cinema day so we can discuss more film stuff off pod. And we have got a birthday party. One of our close friends from the same community they've got a birthday party, so hopefully we can make that.
Nice.
We always aim
with
but
Frank or
yeah,
kids
yeah. So
invited
with Frank,
too?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's no,
cool.
it's
Cool.
it's a kids party.
Oh,
So
right. I see. Sorry. Yeah.
the venue we know,
Nice. Okay.
but yeah, it's 50-50 if he goes in. It's the same venue that a lot of the parties are locally. It's just will he go into the venue? And then last time we went, he spent an hour
Well,
outside the venue waiting to go into the actual
I'm not a
room.
mathematician, but if he's been before, it's a little bit less than 50-50. He's more likely to go in if he's been before.
Well,
Familiarity is the key. As far like, look at Senjim.
yeah. Oh, that actually went off
Look at
without a hitch yesterday as well, which was nice
there we
after
go.
last week.
Look at that pub that you've
Mm.
been to a second time.
Yeah, I suppose when he actually
Listen,
gets there.
if
No,
it
no, no,
doesn't if it
you are
doesn't
right.
happen,
If
but,
we
like,
leave the house, then yes. But I have gone to I think the last few actually. I'm not sure why. He knows it's almost like we arrive and he just looks and goes, "Oh, not here again," and we got to try and convince him to get in the building.
okay.
But yeah, so I mean, we always go in and say hello. But yeah, I think we spent half of the last party sitting in the foyer watching because it was in a swimming pool. It's like leisure centre. He was
Yeah.
watching people swim as opposed to going into the soft play room. But yeah,
Yeah, sure.
we'll see. But he's also, I think, um, a little bit of his personal growth. I said, Amy was watching a video online, and this parent was saying that her autistic child, now that they speak and they can communicate better, they were asking them, like, when we always try to do things on weekends, the child would go, "Do you know what? I just spent so much energy trying to mask and get through the week. I didn't want to do anything on weekends." And I'm kind of getting the vibe that most weekends now, like Frankie today has been in his pajamas all day. He just didn't want to get dressed, and we're not going to force him.
We run one out day. If we've got anything else, we have to consider
an in.
An in. Okie doke.
So yeah, nothing major.
No, okay.
Expected.
But
I
some
will always say
really good opportunities for optimism there. Eh?
Yeah, totally.
Nice. Okay, cool. Bath time scores. Every week we look at how our bath time scores have been. We've been on a upward keel. This part of the podcast has been quite uneventful because we just normalized that we're having an okay bath time. Was that the same for you this week, pal?
So we did not have a bath-free pod. I don't think we are bathing tonight because Frankie just is not vibing. Again, not sure, unsettled. He's been in his pajamas all day. He's super, super tired. As of like an hour and a bit ago, he was bags under his eyes. Something's affecting him, and he's super tired. So it's just like, look, we're not going to force it. So his last bath time was a couple of days ago, and it was okay. I'm not going to say an 8 because we've been having lots of 8s. I'll probably just say it was like just a solid, simple 7.
Nice.
Solid, simple. Yeah, we're not having as many baths.
Simple 7.
So yeah, solid, simple 7.
Like it.
How was Bath event after last pod?
Bath event, we are back up to epic Bath event proportions.
Lord of the Rings length.
Yeah, Peter Jackson got hold of bath time and was like, I'm gonna make this. Yeah. A number of reasons. The sensory stuff is obviously different because it's dark in there or darker in there because of the sun going, and lots of more requests to have to be private,
Mhm.
which is okay, but normally the when then will work. Not that it didn't work, it's just that Oscar was disagreeing with that. So when I come back, then we'll do your shampoo. No. Or I would come back and go, I'm back, shampoo. Not yet. Like politely, like we weren't arguing, but just yeah, we just things took a little longer, and then it was kind of Oscar felt cold when they got out, and so there was some deregulated there. They I always put out 2 options for pajamas, like these weren't the ones they wanted. Just it happened to be, and, it was, I wasn't deregulated and angry and stressed. Um, it just seemed to take like, we started when we finished the pod, so we weren't in bed and sorted till 10 o'clock,
Right.
which was a lot. So I'm marking it down as a 4 because we didn't fight, we didn't argue, but, it took us that long, and it hasn't taken that long for months. So we're
Was there how was the outcome? Was like well, like it's a product, like, but was it
yeah.
was hair in an acceptable like,
Oscar
was
did
it worth the wait or as it were?
Oscar did Oscar did all of the items that Oscar was asked to do.
Awesome.
Um, I don't think the hair rinsing was as good as it could have been, but I always say, "Well, it's better than having not washed your hair."
Mhm, mhm,
Because Oscar's hair is, they have their hair really, really long, so it needs washing once a week.
mhm.
Um So yeah, just a bit of a bummer, but like Laura was working last week, so I kind of had to make a scenario of I can't, I like, maybe there's that to it. Like Oscar knows that sometimes they want to get out of the bath and have their hair dried and stuff with Laura sometimes, but we'll see. Um, Low bar to clear for me when I get off pod because I'm hoping that things will be a little bit more smoother. But, it's meant to surprise you, and just when you've got something locked in that works, it's not, what did I say earlier on the pod? It's not a linear pathway where you come out the end with stuff. It's like organic. It kind of grows and folds, and it's the faders on the mixing desk or whatever. So we'll
Mhm.
see. Oscar has the opportunity to surprise me again, and that surprise could mean it's um 3 Lord of the Rings films tied together, and we aren't in bed until midnight, but also we could be done in an hour.
Mm.
Also, the bath time is a huge sensory experience. So just having, what was one of my words? Perspective about it. And just going,
Do they do they perceive bath as something as like a as you say with you said it a few times with Laura, like a job that needs doing? Like if there was something
mm,
like if you was to go when you've had your bath, then you can do something to try and be like the dangling the
uh,
carrot, as it were. Would that have any impact on
I
their
think the
outlook?
bath, interestingly, I think the bath is like, they don't hate the bath when they're in it. I think they, I think they react against being told what to do.
Yeah, fine.
And they getting really good at like
Telling you that.
performing. No, just performing that they're upset, and you go, "Oh, actually, okay, fine." I was just pretending. So, which is nice because Oscar never used to be able to lie because their face would crack up. So, in a way, it's kind of nice. Yeah, I don't know. At least it's something like they quite enjoy the sensory experience of washing in the bath. So we'll see. Listen, I think in January, they'll be 14. Who wants their Who wants their parent around
Yeah, I
when they're
understand.
bathing when they're 14? So if I put that metric up, that's fine. But also I then have to put some personal hygiene needs that they're not necessarily. And I think over time they'll just get that. So yeah, didn't feel great about it last week, but also not gonna be super scared or super not what's the word? Not gonna be super stressed about it. It is what it is. They need that support, so I'm not gonna remove it. I couldn't just go get in the bath for them to say get out, because it would just be they just lay there and have fun. So at least it's not something that they fear all week.
Mm.
So yes. With that, I was just looking at the time. I need to go and begin it, because if it is going to be that long, we need to get ahead of things. So yes, thank you. If you've enjoyed our chat, any parts of it, we're talking about being parents of neurodivergent children, the education system, or how to watch and appreciate and enjoy cinema, or all of them. Please do get in touch. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok. We are the NeuroDADverse. Or if you want to get in touch with a slightly longer bit of information for us, we are the NeuroDADverse at gmail.com. And that just leaves us for Danny to take us out of the pod by doing our lovely little phrase.
You are enough. You're doing great. And you're certainly not alone. Have a lovely week.
Enjoy it, guys. See you later.
See ya.
That's about it for the NeuroDADverse. We'll be back next week.
If you laughed, cried, or nodded in tired agreement, don't forget to follow us and leave a review. It helps more parents find us.
Just remember, you're doing great.
You are enough, and you are definitely not alone.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at neurodadverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves.